start with the fact that you had a webinar to lead into the Coach Approach training, which I thought was really valuable because it set the scene and it enabled us to come into the training already aware of the fact that we were going to be sharing our own experiences, that we could, I guess, verbalise, formalise, whatever it is, our challenges that we felt we were facing currently or may face in the future, and that they may be addressed, or at least they would become something that we could work towards and work through. So I really appreciated the webinar, the lead in. The training itself has been fantastic. We're in the second day now, and my background and where I'm looking at using the training is with other educators. So the training has been great because it fits that, even though I guess there's been a bit of a child-family focus and a lot of people do work directly with families and are taking from it for that. It hasn't mattered at all that I'm going to be looking at it for use with educators. I guess it's predominantly because the families are adults and teachers are adults. So that was one of the biggest messages yesterday, was about how adults learn and being aware of that. And the other, I think there's been so many big aha things, or at least messages that I will take back. The adult learning, that was one definitely. The constructs that we have that influence the way that we perceive things, that's another big information thing that I guess it gave a label to something I'd been playing around in my head and couldn't work out. I guess perceptions is where I'd come up with, and assumptions, and it kind of put it all into a word and an idea that people, whether it's their culture or their experiences that they've had to date, where they're at right now, whether it's socio-economic, whether it's to do with the fact that they've just had a baby, whatever it is, they will have influences, and we can perceive that one way, and our own constructs will influence the way that we take that on board. And that's been a really big, I can see now how my constructs have affected my relationship with some educators, and how I also change my way of listening to people based sometimes on what I've heard from other people, which is it's going to influence it, and to be aware of that is actually going to be very helpful. So the coaching has helped me to learn about that. I think there were a couple of fantastic acronyms. So GROW was one that I really took as a really good way to help us to work through the questions that we would ask in a coaching session, to be able to, I can't actually tell you what each of the letters meant, but essentially knowing that if we do have a plan or an agreement that we've come to with each other, that there'll be a time frame, but it can be the dancing in the moment, it can be flexible in effect, that there will be an agenda that would be worked on together, a goal or several goals, that they would be achievable hopefully, and if there's something that we can work on towards, and that there is a sense of ownership from the person that I'm working with, that they feed in. It's not me telling them or providing a seminar or a workshop necessarily. It's coaching and getting them to draw out, coaxing, learning to ask those questions. So this training that you've provided has, I guess, helped me to sit back, reflect, take a pause in the questions, now I'm pausing, you see? Just
That's
giving you a demonstration of a pause.
That's good.
Yeah, I think now when I go in to set up a mentoring or a coaching, coaching with an educator, I will be more mindful of asking where they're at and how they've come to be there. I'll be curious. I'll be hoping to draw out from them what's worked, what they felt was positive about an experience, where they felt were the difficulties or things that they felt they would like to have some change in. I guess I'll be more mindful of looking for the essence of what they're talking about rather than just, there will be a lot of talking around things, I imagine, still, but learning to draw out the essence or think about that when I'm listening has been a valuable learning from this coaching.
And what would you say to other people who are thinking about doing the training?
I would highly recommend this training with Jackie. I think with you. I think the main, what I've really loved is that we have a real connection in that your value of the social, emotional aspect, the emotional intelligence aspect, the mindfulness. I don't think every coach or every training would have that. So I guess for me, just that we really resonated well, that there was that wonderful connection of how those relationships are developed. It wasn't through a course book or something. It was very much shared experiences. I thought this training was very personal, even though it was a group of 20 people, that we each were given time to reflect and to be heard. And I did make mention that I felt like I'd had a massage just from being listened to. And it really is